We've now come to our first complex topic, and this will be something that some of you will really have to work at to be able to understand. Again, this is our first complex topic that can be difficult for some students. And it has to deal with all of these letters that we have been talking about. Again, it's just A through G being repeated, going lower and going higher. The trouble is, the distance between some of these letters is not the same. For example, between B and C, there isn't a note. So there is no note between B and C. But between A and B, there is a note. We have a note in between A and B. Now, to get to that note, we use a sharp or a flat. Since this is higher than an A, we use an A sharp. It is also lower than a B, so we use a flat. So that note in between A and B is an A sharp or a B flat. We call that an enharmonic. An enharmonic is the same pitch spelled differently. So we have a pitch in between A and B, and it can be spelled as A sharp or it can be spelled as B flat. So where else does this happen? It happens between C and D. There's a note. There's a note between D and E. So let's put those in. There's one right here. And there's one right here. This note, since it's higher than C, it's a C sharp. It's lower than D, so it's also a D flat. And right here, it's higher than D, so it's a D sharp. And it's lower than E, so it's an E flat. Now, just like there isn't a note in between B and C, there isn't a note between E and F. So you could possibly remember it this way, that the only places where there isn't a note is in between B and C and E and F. Everything else, there is a note. There is a note between F and G, between G and A, and now we're back to A and B. So there's a note here, a note here, and a note there. There isn't one there. Hopefully you're seeing something in these black lines that I have written down. You're noticing that there are 3 right there, and there are 2 right there, and there will be 3 over there. This should look somewhat familiar. And there it is. We have a group of 3, and a group of 2, and a group of 3. And here are where the letters are. The best place to find it and to start is to find a group of 2. And just to the bottom of it, there is a C. And if you remember, the 2 places where there was not a note is between B and C. So notice there isn't a note, and E and F. There isn't a note between there. Everywhere else, there is a note. So for example, this one right here, Notice between F and G there is a note. It is higher than F, so it is F sharp. It is also lower than G, so it is a G flat. So that is an enharmonic pitch. And that's how you get to those black keys on a piano. Now, having a picture of a piano when doing our next topic can be very helpful. And that is whole steps and half steps.